Hello and welcome to NetLab Plus Security Plus V4 Lab Series. I'm doing the walkthrough for Lab 7 performing active reconnaissance. As you can see here, I already have my NetLab open and I had undocked the content and moved it over to the right side so that you can follow along with me. If you want to do the same, you can just go over to the NetLab screen. On the Content tab, there's a down arrow, and when you click on the down arrow, you'll get an option to undock. When you click on that, it'll separate the content from the lab itself, and you can move it on over as its own separate tab. So, in the content itself, we're going to scroll down to page 3, where it goes over our objectives. We're going to do the following tasks. We're going to experience active reconnaissance in Windows and in Linux, and then we're going to scan the network for vulnerable systems. Now on page 5, you're going to see the lab settings, which lists all the virtual machines that we will be working through, their IP addresses, their accounts, and the passwords. So let's start with lesson 1. Use PowerShell to perform an active reconnaissance of a Windows server. In this section, you will utilize PowerShell on the Windows server to gather extensive information. So first, we gotta open up Windows OS. Now you can do that by clicking on the Windows OS icon from the topology, and it'll take you straight there, or you can click on the tab on the lab, and then from here, you notice it'll say press Ctrl-Alt-Delete to unlock. To do that, you actually have to select the down arrow on the WinOS tab, and then there'll be an option for Send Ctrl-Alt-Delete. From here, it'll open up the login screen for the WinOS, and you can see it already has the administrator name on the profile, so we just have to type in the password, which should be capital NDG, lowercase LAB, PASS, 123, and exclamation mark. Just hit enter. From here on step 4, it says leave the server manager window untouched. As you can see, we don't see a server manager window for this particular lab, but we can go ahead and just ignore that and move on by right-clicking the Windows logo on the bottom left-hand corner of the taskbar. When you do that, you're going to see you're going to see a listing pop up, Windows PowerShell Admin. Go ahead and select that, and then select Yes. Now for part 5, in the Windows PowerShell, we're going to type in the command $cred, and just follow along as I type it. It'll be $cred in lowercase equals get credential. And this will get us credential. It'll get us the credential window so that we can log in as administrator. So in the username, we're going to type in administrator. Helps if I have my hands on the right keys. Add administrator. Why is this not working? Add administrator. There we go. And then in the password field, again, we're going to type in capital NDG, lowercase LAB, PASS, 123, and exclamation mark, and just hit enter, and that'll go ahead and validate. Now on the PowerShell, we're going to retrieve a list of domain users. And to do that, you got to type out this command exactly as is. It's capital G, lowercase et for get, dash capital AD, G, ROUP lowercase, and then capital M for member, space dash credential, because we're getting the credentials, space $cred, space dash server, space win OS, space quote domain users, and quote space pipe, space select, space SAM account name. And just hit enter, and that'll give us our list. Should have said administrator, KRBTGT, lab user, lab 2 user, and lab user ID. All right. Next, we're going to identify which users are domain admin members. So we're going to change up this code a little bit, but we're going to reuse it. So on the terminal, just hit the up arrow. It'll bring you back the previous codes that you had used. And we're going to delete everything back from the end of this code to where it says user domains, and just delete users and replace that with admins, and then end quote. And then hit enter. And here is the list of domain admins. Now we just want the SAM accounts, the SAM accounts. So we're going to use that same code, but this time we're going to add a pipe, space pipe, select SAM ACCOUNT name. Okay, after typing that out, go ahead and hit the enter key, and that should bring up our, did it not work? Hold on. Let me make sure I have that real correct. Enter. Okay. There it is. I don't know why it wasn't registering that I was already on the screen. So our security account management names are administrator and lab user. This is for our domain admins. Next, we're going to view just the domain itself. So this code will be different. We're going to type in get, I should say command, not code. This command will be different. It's get add, all capital, OMAIN. And hit enter. Now we're going to see if the lab 2 user account is currently enabled. Let me add more time in my lab. And to do that, we have to use this command. It is get dash adu ser space dash filter space apostrophe SAM for system account management, account name space dash EQ. Don't do G. I did this one time where I accidentally put a G and it wasn't working. Quote lab 2 dash user quote apostrophe. And then hit enter. And this should say enabled true. There we go. Good. Not only do we see that the account lab 2 user is enabled, we also have the account's SID as well, which is here. Oh, sorry, here. And to view the lab account user's group memberships and confirm whether the account belongs to the domain admins, we have to use another command, which is get dash ADPRINCIPAL group membership space lab dash user. Hit enter, and here we can see It's in multiple groups. 2, 3, 4 different groups. It can be verified that the lab user is part of the domain admins group as well as other groups. So now we're going to clear this out by typing CLS and hit enter. And we're just going to leave the window open for our next task. Come back to part 2 where we're going to go over use PowerShell to perform an active reconnaissance of a Windows client.